Cuddy left House in the final season, and while the show wasn't the same without her, there was one good thing about her departure. House premiered in 2004 on Fox. The series is a reimagined version of the popular Sherlock Holmes stories by Arthur Conan Doyle, which adapts the narrative to a contemporary hospital where Dr. Gregory House is a world-leading diagnostician. And while it drew inspiration from Sherlock, the show very quickly sets itself apart. As a medical drama series, it stands out for its innovation and sense of humor. In addition, the show is propped up by an outstanding cast who deliver compelling performances throughout. Leading the charge, Hugh Laurie plays House, but the interactions between House and his team make the show absolutely outstanding. In addition to his interactions with others like Lisa Cuddy, although she left the series ahead of the final season. Cuddy's exit meant that we got to see Foreman as Dean of Medicine. Cuddy's loss was Foreman's gain in House Season 8. In House's penultimate season, House and Cuddy finally make their relationship official. However, the relationship continues to be rocky and challenging, with House struggling to overcome his own nihilism and self-destructive behaviors. Ultimately, House and Cuddy break up, and in a fit of rage when House spots a strange man in Cuddy's home, he drives a car through her home, which could have caused serious harm and injury. Cuddy then leaves for good, and in her place, a new Dean of Medicine was appointed to lead the team at Princeton Plainsboro Teaching Hospital. And in a fun twist of fate, Eric Foreman, one of House's original hires to his specialist diagnostic team, is hired to fill the role. Had Cuddy stayed on as the dean, Foreman could never have taken over the role, which would have been a shame as this moment led to a lot of great developments in the final season, and helped to ensure that House and Cuddy did not backslide into the toxic and damaged relationship they had created. Foreman being House's boss was a full-circle moment for the show. Foreman had an incredible character arc throughout House. House first hired Foreman to his team at the very beginning of the series. Along with Robert Chase and Allison Cameron, these three were the original Team House, and they grew a lot in their time with House. While it was often uncomfortable, and House would push people like Foreman to do things that felt uncharacteristic, or even illegal, the team did their best to learn from House. His eccentricities did ultimately prove too challenging for the team, as by the end of Season 3, all three made moves to get out from under House, and carve out their own paths in specialist areas of medicine. Foreman was uniquely positioned, as, in some ways, he and House had a lot in common. However, this frequently led to the pair butting heads, rather than working together. When Foreman decided to leave House, and stop working for someone who often made him miserable, it was a mystery where he would end up. However, as the new dean at PPTH, Foreman was uniquely positioned to guide, advise, and keep House in line. This was the perfect role for Foreman, and one that saw his character arc come full circle. Why Foreman was picked as the new Dean of Medicine after Cuddy left. Foreman earned the promotion to become the dean. PPTH has a board of advisors who make decisions about how the hospital should operate. As such, it makes sense that the board were directly responsible for choosing a successor to Cuddy. While they could have opted to give the job to the head of a department, or perhaps an older and more experienced doctor, the board had been dealing with House for years. They were very familiar with the unique challenges he presented, and they understood that handling him required a very special type of person. With unique skills, Foreman was uniquely positioned as a person who had direct experience working with House for several years. He understood the challenges House created, and the value he added to PPTH at the same time. While House is not necessarily a likable figure, he is the best at what he does, and if another dean had been brought in, it's easy to imagine they may have tired of his antics quickly. However, by hiring Foreman to become the new dean, PPTH had a reliable, determined, experienced, and intelligent doctor to oversee these developments and keep Dr. House on an appropriately short leash in House's final season.